people who, so that other people who couldn't make this meeting will hear it, and I can save my voice from having to say this too often. I'm sorry I missed your introductions. That was my oversight. Um, okay, let me share my screen here, and let's see. Can people see that? It says
Yep.
Sustainable Rossmore. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I'm standing on Sustainable Rossmore's shoulders, and actually, I think Jim Ware, did you put together this original slide here, possibly? Um, there.
That was the slide design was mine, not the
Okay.
text design.
Yep. Very good. Okay. So we'll just go through here. Here's the agenda, starting the recording, meeting goal, our this bike committee purpose, why now, what we are building, what we need from each of you, what are the subcommittees, a 12-question survey, and then Q&A. So the first thing, uh, Zoom ground rules. If you could mute yourself when not asked to speak so that extraneous phone calls or other things won't be listened in by everybody else. Um, okay, so thank you. And you're all nicely front lit, thank you. And if you raise your hand electronically, if you have a question, I'll be able to see you more easily when this is on. Because right now I can see 5 of you in my screen. Meeting goal. Explain what we want to do. Launch the bike committee. Launch subcommittees and get your feedback. That's what the meeting goal is. Bike committee purpose. Promoting more varied, I'm going to have to move my people's, okay. Promoting more varied and safer sustainable biking practices in Rossmore and beyond. And if there's enough interest, we can form our own club. So understand, Sustainable Rossmore was nice enough when Randy couldn't reserve space for places. They said because you're not a club yet, and I said, well, to get things started, you can be a committee of Sustainable Rossmore because arguably there are sustainable aspects of biking compared to cars. And if you grow beyond that, that's fine. We will, bless you on your way. But this way, you can get started quickly and have some credibility with GRF. So that's why right now it's under Sustainable Rossmore's auspices. It can stay there. It can grow into its own club. There will be very little input from Sustainable Rossmore as a club. So we can choose what makes sense, and we're fine either way. Why now? Well, we want to stand on Dick Powell's shoulders and others' shoulders, for example, Clay, to expand the appeal of biking to more people and get the benefit of their experience and wisdom and be able to institutionalize it so that it goes to more people and more opportunities. We think that there's a market out there for a greater variety of bike routes, bike distances, elevation gains, but we don't know uh, till we actually ask a whole lot of people. Um, Also, we want to do things safely. The reality is that none of us are getting any younger, and um, and we know that there are some inherent risks in bicycling, and it's good to do this in groups and know that we have some people there that can help us if we need help, if we fall down. Um, Having lead and sweep, having radio communication from the front and back. Some of these things, if any of you are members of the Trails Club, I see modeling some of our practices on what the Trails Club has done for hikers. I see totally analogous. They have four levels of hikers. They have amblers, ramblers, trekkers, and scramblers. and they have different lengths of their hikes and different elevation gains. And we could do the same thing if we have enough people with our groups. And it can be, I mean, there can be really, we can have e-bike groups, and we can have people who are in very fit join the e-bikers with regular bikes, but we can segment what is being done now a little for more variety and interest. Okay, what else? Yes, we're not getting any younger. So I know I had an e-bike when it was an old e-bike when the battery finally died, and it wasn't being made anymore. Actually, it cost me as much to buy a regular bike as a as to repackage the battery for this bike. So I bought a regular bike, and I've been taking it for things. But at some point, getting an e-bike will be inevitable for me. Um, the other thing, why now advocacy? I know an awful lot of people who bicycle individually at Rossmore. It seems more of an that, and I guess a lot of people take morning walks and don't do group hikes. But as Lynn said, I mean, there's something very appealing about doing it as a group as well. We could also advocate for bike racks at all the clubhouses. I know when I bicycle down to the gym, there's a bike rack there. But there's not one at at the event center. There's other places I would want to bicycle to, and there are not bike racks there. So we can do that with greater numbers. So that is the why now. What are we building toward? Well, we're gonna do a survey and hope to get a lot of input from the survey. But as a first guess, before we get that feedback, we would envision weekly bike rides, e-bike demonstrations, and possibly our own club when we are ready. Um, uh, I know already some people have contributed a lot. So Hal Cushions and and Bernie Wolf have contributed a whole bunch of bike rides that in different locations that might be appealing. And I see a group getting something together and deciding on what of these might be of interest to the larger group. Um, as far as e-bike demonstrations, if I mean, Randy has reached out and has gotten interest from uh, mostly rejections, but has gotten interest from Alamo, from Trek Bicycle in Alamo. I forget which words go first there. So um, to offer having some demonstrations of e-bikes for people, and so we were anticipating that our first bike ride would be along the Iron Horse Trail near where Alamo, where Trek Bicycle is. And once we see how many people there might be interested in trying out e-bikes, they would provide that number for people to use, and we'll work out the details of that. So to make an easy transition for people who don't have e-bikes now to be able to try them out. Um, so that's we are building what we need of each member. Again, this is an initial uh, vision to be modified but what we all decide makes sense for the group. Um, well, the first, if we could say we're definitely going to be our own club, and we don't need, thank you, Sustainable Rossmore, but we have enough energy to do this on our own, then we can just go to being our own club. But if we want to have an intermediate phase or stay as a committee of Sustainable Rossmore, then if you're not already a member, you would join for it's $20 a year, and you would click on sustainablerossmore.org and click on this Join Us Now and fill out some information, and you can use a credit card or you can leave a $20 check in the Sustainable Rossmore mailbox at Gateway. Again, we can discuss whether what step we want to do on there. The other thing that we're looking for all of you is having bike ride leaders. I know that in the Trails Club, every member, they have like 400 members. Every member needs to lead once or twice a year, I think it is, a hike. And it provides it provides development of leaders and making sure that somebody is responsible for having safe and well-equipped bikes, and that and that we're doing everything to ensure your safety and an enjoyable ride. So committing that people, and we don't know how often that's going to be. It depends how quickly this group grows and how large it grows. I know we don't have that now with Dick's Rides, but and whoever wants to also be involved in organizing can decide whether this makes sense to have or not. But these are some of the things we'd want to assure. And then finally, joining a subcommittee. Now I reorganized the possible subcommittees here to make it a smaller number, so it's not quite as daunting. I get and this can be done quickly, or this could be done over the course of a year or two, depending on how much interest there is. But the first subcommittee is one that's involved in organizing, and I'm happy to take the lead on that. But through a series of surveys, how many levels of bike riders do we want? How many bike rides? What distance should the bike rides be? Elevation gain? And it'll become clear as we get more and more feedback from riders. I think it will naturally fall into certain groups, and that will tell us this answer. We're not gonna guess it and then hope that we're right. We'll get a lot of feedback. That's one part of the organizing. Another part is, again, taking a page from the Trails Club's playbook. They have liability waivers that you sign at the beginning of each hike, putting down who's on the hike, so you can contact them. Another thing is ride safety. Oh, I keep clicking on it, sorry. Ride safety, and this would be having, I mean, what they promote is having an FRS radio for the lead and for the sweep at the end, and having some ride safety best practices. We don't want anyone getting lost. So as Dick Powell had explained to me about corners, that when there is a dividing point in a trail or in a bike ride, that you plant the next person there who will tell you which way to go, which way in that decision point to go, so that you're not misled. And whenever there's a decision point on a road, there would be someone planted there until everybody on the trip it has gone through that intersection. So again, leaving no one behind, making sure that no one is lost is something, and then making sure that we have SAG, so supplies and gear, so that if somebody has a flat tire, we have equipment, or I mean, decide how to do it. I guess if all the bikes are different, everyone would have their own flat tire, but having some expertise and some tools for changing it, if that's something that we feel is that we want to do. But safety is something important for a group ride. That was the first subcommittee. There's a communication subcommittee. We want to promote this club with with other people at Rossmore and outside of Rossmore, possibly. And we want to, well, interact with GRF for room reservations and when we're ready, lobbying for bike racks or other things that we feel would meet our needs. That's another subcommittee. A third committee is putting together the supplies and gear. I'm not even sure. It is SAG. This is my own ignorance. I know there are SAG wagons for different events, but I don't know if it's supply and gear or supplies and gear. Anyway, but making sure that we have what equipment we need to help people in the bike ride, as well as first aid, as well as putting together some protocols on how we, and I see I misspelled protocol, how we deal with people who suffer a fall or scrape or something else. And I know Bernie has been contacting Harriet Schwartz at the Trails Club to see what their protocols all are. And I know we have some clinical expertise in this group that might be able to weigh in on some of those issues. And then finally, getting those bike routes more memorialized, whether it's on a website, which is what the Trails Club has, this variety of trails that you can do, either with the group or even on your own, but pointing to, and there's a lot of existing information out there that we can draw from, so that we have a good variety of bike routes to pull from. And finally, e-bike promotion and biking promotion in general. But I think that's certainly Randy's interest there. So those are the 5 subcommittees. So that leads us to a 12-question survey that I'd like to have you fill out. And to do it, you would put your phone camera in front of this screen, and then once it sees there'll be a yellow code will come up at the bottom of your camera screen. If you tap on that, it will take you to the survey, and you can fill out this survey. It just take a minute or two, and this is to get your initial input on interest, and then after that we can take questions and get your thoughts on all this.
So Barry, you're asking us to do the survey right now?
I am. So the QR code is probably the easiest way, but if you're having trouble with that, the actual link or the URL is at the top left there, is another way of doing it.
Hey, when you got this little
Yeah,
box on the screen, okay, I gotta get that.
right, right. So once it sees it, then a yellow, the link, it will be on the bottom there. If you tap on that link, it'll take you to the survey.
Pick up the whole thing and only
Might
takes
be easier said than done.
my yellow box won't get bigger. It won't get big enough.
So, right, it doesn't have to cover the camera, but it needs to be in sharp, not out of focus.
How do I push? Video or phone
You press your camera, just and then you hold it. You get this QR code in the field there, and then there should be a yellow link that comes out on the bottom there that you tap. Well, okay. Let me ask, is anybody having trouble with this?
No, I'm done.
Okay, thank you, Lynn.
It's easy.
Well, not for me. I've never been able to do it the whole time this happened, so forget
Just
it.
hold your camera close to that box, that QR
Okay.
box, and a yellow thing will come up. Tap on that.
What do you mean? What kind of a yellow thing?
Well, you gotta line it up with the camera. You kind of zoom in a little bit, so it's all
Oh,
four
so
square.
yellow thing that comes on when it comes on? Where are
After you tap the yellow box, yes, it'll come up.
Well,
Yeah, director has revealed new date. Oh, no. That's
I
not
will, what I will do here, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna email, oops, I'm gonna email the link, okay? So you can just click on it as a hyperlink. So let me just highlight this here. And then, okay, let me put it on here. Okay, hold on. Okay, let me create a new message. And okay, and this is going to have a hyperlink. There we go. And then I'm going to go to all the emails and put them up. Blind carbon copy to everybody, and I will send that. Okay, so okay, so I have emailed the URL to everybody. So for those who are having trouble with this QR code, you can alternatively open that email and click on the link, and that will also take you to the survey. And meanwhile, I'm gonna, let's see, let me refresh this survey here and see how many responses we have. So we can go through the results. Very good. 6. Okay. Well, I didn't do it, so all but a couple have done it. So I think we will, I might have to reshare this. Okay. Okay, let me go through this result. Now, can people see this, or do I need to redo the share? Can people see what at the top it says bike committee survey?
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. So let's see what we have here. So most people have provided their email. So what is your preferred bike ride length? So it looks like, so 4 people had 20 to 30 miles. One had 15 to 20, one had 10 to 15. Great. Okay. And what's the next one? What's your preferred bike ride elevation gain during the bike ride? So 4 people want it as close to level as possible, and 2 people like rolling hills. Very good. Is this of interest to people? It's of interest to me.
Yeah.
Okay, what's your e-bike situation? 2 people own e-bikes, and 3 people say I view I would be open to trying an e-bike, and one person says I have no interest in riding an e-bike.
Well, that was
That's
Clay.
okay, that's great. Okay, this is all good information. This is exact this is
Time will come.
this is feeding my soul to know what the future of this group should be. Um, okay, and this is and let's look at the next one. What days would you be generally available to go on bike rides? So right now, Tuesdays and Thursdays are the most popular, but there's interest in weekends, Mondays, Fridays, everything but Wednesday so far with this first group. And then let's see, rotating leading of bike, uh, rotating leading of bike riders among members makes sense, yes or no? And 5 thinks it makes sense, and 1 doesn't know. Okay, no one said no to that. Um, okay, having someone who can repair a flat tire or other minor repairs on a bike ride is important. So 3 people strongly agree and 3 people slightly agree. Okay,
Haven't heard from me yet. I'm still working on it.
right, that's okay. It'll come, and on Saturday when we do this again, it'll have all of your responses plus what the other people have. And Dick, when you get to it, yours will be added to the group. Having someone who knows first aid on a bike ride is important. Everybody strongly agrees with that. Good. Okay. Well, we'll have to get people to self-volunteer that they can help out with that. Um, 9, assuring that no one gets lost on a bike ride is important. And 4, strongly agree, 1 slightly agrees, and 1 neither agrees or disagrees. And that's fine too. And okay, what suggestions do you have to make this bike group even better? Oh, these are all anonymous. Start and experiencing it and be flexible. Include advocacy for new routes and safer bike riding in Rossmore. And website of our
Own,
of our
own.
own. Okay, website of our own. Okay, thank you, Lynn, for okay. And then number 11, should we remain, whoops. Okay, should we remain a committee of Sustainable Rossmore or form our own club? 4 don't know. 1 says become our own club, and 1 says stay with Sustainable Rossmore. So that's firmly undecided, that group. And okay, which subcommittees are you willing to lend a hand to? And 1 is willing to lend a hand on supplies and gear, and 5 are willing to lend a hand on organizing. Great. Okay. So that is our 12 questions. Let me stop the share at this point. That was very informative. Thank you for those who were able to complete the QA code. Again, for those who had trouble with the QA code, I sent you an email that had a link to it, and you could click on that. And okay, great. Okay. And after this meeting, I will send that link out. I put it together this morning, or like an hour before this meeting. So the meeting helped me. And again, I know some of you have expertise on putting together questionnaires. If there's a lot of flaws in what I have there, I'm happy to recast it and resend it out. So happy to get
Great
feedback.
job.
Sorry?
You did a great job.
Thank you, whoever said that.
Dick.
And but this will give us a good idea. Yes, Lynn.
A few comments? Is it time
Yes.
for comments?
Yeah. Yes, this is a Q&A at this point. So yes.
Okay, so the Trails Club, I was past president. We have 335 members,
Okay.
and we carry a first aid kit. One person carries a first aid kit that I help put together, which is a
Great.
fanny pack. It's just a
Okay.
little fanny pack,
Great.
and it has supplies in it. We also do a first aid class once or twice a year. for all the members that want to attend. We do not sign a waiver at each hike. We just sign in. The
Gotcha.
club has comprehensive coverage.
I stand corrected. Okay,
Because we need to take that sheet with us so we can account for everybody at the end. We have a lead and a sweep on every hike.
right,
They're supposed to sign up once a quarter for their group to lead, but they don't. So the same person often leads over and over and over again, which is okay.
right,
I would also suggest for this group that everybody at some point will download their GPS or AllTrails onto their phones and have a phone mount, because like when we were in France, we got from spot to spot on our own with our GPS. And it's nice to have that if you're not familiar with the roads in Contra Costa County or elsewhere. If we went to Marin or somewhere, it's a good idea to have that.
especially when there's not good reception at places.
Exactly. And also
Right.
the radios are great when people remember to carry them. I would say 80% of the time, nobody takes them.
Wow. Okay.
Harriet's group always has them because Harriet is OCD.
Yep.
And she has everything known to man, and her trunk supplies the entire club with all the things they forget.
Yes, yes.
So-
I recall that about Harriet, yes.
Yeah. So it's a good idea to have the radios, and I would encourage people to have them.
Right, but it's not a must-have, right?
Exactly.
Okay,
And I think that was all I wanted to say about all. Oh, and I think it would be great to have a website at some point where as you do the hikes, you rate them and you list them on the website so people can either do them again on their own or they're rated highly for another leader to do it another time. So
Right.
people can go on there and look at all the hikes. We have all our hikes listed, not all, but many,
Okay.
many hikes. Yeah.
very good.
Okay.
Well, Lynn, I had forgotten that you were a past president of the Trails Club, and so that is such valuable experience, expertise here, because again, I was Donna and I, my wife, were members for a few years, and we just and we love the people and we love the concept, but we like to get in our hikes. You know, we'll do our 3, 4, 5 miles, you know, quickly, nearby, and then we have other things we want to do.
Sure.
And whereas the Trails Club, it's a much more extended time commitment. So it didn't quite work for us, but still having that experience, I saw that it applied so well, and in some cases, even more importantly, to bicycle groups than to hikers. I think more likely to have some first aid need with the biking group than with the hiking group, but that's just my guess about it. Okay, well, so those are great comments, and I'm glad we captured them on the recording. Are there any other comments or questions that people have? You can, and you unmute. Most of you are muted, so unmute yourself before you start talking.
Oh, I have one more thing.
Yes,
It'd be great to have a locker somewhere.
sure.
Once we get going, to store things like first aid kits in, sign-in sheets, that kind of stuff.
Very good. If there's a lack of those things, you think, is there space in the Trails Club locker to piggyback on that? I'm
It's
just
pretty tight in there.
okay. I just thought I'd ask.
Maybe there's a locker near there.
Uh-huh. Very
Maybe
good.
there's a locker near there that we could rent.
Okay. So, Randy, I have a question for you. I know that you were in conversation with Alamo Trek Bicycle, and again, I'll be inverting the order of those names and forever now because I don't have it clear in my mind. Are they ready to support us, and what are some dates that they could do that? Or what have you, I shouldn't put words in your mouth. What have you found out from them? That's one of the next steps is having an initial ride.
Yeah, we were talking about having our first ride and starting from, well, on Iron Horse Trail, starting at their store.
Right.
And yeah, they said they can accommodate us, but she was suggesting Sunday morning before they open, because they don't open until noon
Hmm.
on Sunday, so they can give us allot us the whole morning. And we
Mhm.
can try if you want. If you don't want e-bikes, you can try any of their bikes in the
Okay,
store.
okay.
And but I'm not sure if everybody would be available on Sunday
Mhm,
morning. So
mhm.
and
Okay,
I think that's one thing we need. We might include on the survey
okay.
just for the first ride, so we can yeah, find out which one it will be the most
Mhm.
yeah, open for the members or for the group.
Okay. Okay, well, that's a good comment. We can add that question if people are available on a Sunday morning. Um, to their, can I just get a sense right now? Anyone interested in trying out e-bike or whatever bikes they have at Iron Horse Trail on a Sunday morning? Here, I see three. Okay, four. Very good. Yeah. Okay. Great. I know at least one of you or two of you have e-bikes already, so that explains why why you're not interested. Dick, I can't hear you. Could you speak up?
Question,
Yeah.
uh, of Don. Don, are you in a spa or something there? You, you look naked.
So Don, you are muted before you respond. You have to unmute. Uh, I I guess I should I couch my que comment on questions that I guess humor can be helpful as
He has no
at
air
times.
conditioning. Let's just put it that way.
Okay, very good. Well, since at least two of you have e-bikes and four of you are interested, so I think a lot of people, and Clay, I understand that you are a long-term avid bicyclist, and I can see where you're not ready to make a transition. Um, I, and again, I kind of view it at some point in my life that I will do that. I don't know when it's going to be, but I'd be interested in trying it out. Yes, Dick.
Clay will lead rides up Mount Hamilton, up to the ranger station or up to the top, because he does that all the time. He
Ma-
hasn't, he just smiled, he hasn't said anything.
Mount Hamilton. Yes, Lynn.
One more thing that I think would
Oh,
be,
Mount Diablo, I'm sorry, I didn't mean Hamilton. I meant Mount Diablo.
Oh, Mount
that,
Diablo. Yes,
Very good.
I have done Mount Diablo, and that is an enjoyable. It takes a while to get there. It's about 35 miles round trip, and it's about 3 hours of just going a steady climb. But
I did it once, that was enough.
yeah,
I was going to
yes,
say
Lynn.
that in this hot weather, when it's over 100 degrees, I think that it would behoove the group also to talk about alternative places to ride. Like yesterday, I left here and I went down to Half Moon Bay
Hmm.
and rode along the ocean, and it was so beautiful. It was 68 degrees, and it was perfect weather for biking. So that's
Yeah,
something we could consider in the future. Of course, people would have to have bike racks in order to do
right.
that.
Yeah, I have a portable bike rack that can handle three bikes, but regular bikes, not e-bikes. Maybe two e-bikes. But again, the e-bikes are more 55, 60 pounds, and I need to have my wife help me or someone help me to put them on the rack. But eventually, I can see getting a hitch to having an easier way of getting bikes onto a bike rack rather than having to lift them up. But
A little
that'll,
ramp you can buy. You can buy a ramp for
yeah,
$100 and you just roll it up
okay.
onto the.
Well, okay. If you could send me information about that, I'd be interested.
I
I
don't have
can't,
the information, but they have them in the bike shops.
I can't picture. Okay, well, I'll get there
It looks
too.
like a piece of gutter.
Uh-huh. Right.
You
Okay.
might try gutter.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn. Lynn, both you and I are involved in many, I'm like on five boards and for years I said the only person I know who's busier than me is Lynn Ferret. So it's a pleasure to finally be at the same meeting as you.
I think at some point we have to combine our forces for MS.
Well, I have suggested that to Mark, but I haven't talked to you about it. Um, and let's talk separately because I have some definite ideas on that score.
I think also in this group, we don't have to limit it to people that have e-bikes, right? I mean,
No,
anybody,
no, no,
because
no.
I have both, and depending on the
Right,
terrain is what the bike I take.
right. No, this is both, but the e-bike features prominently because that was Randy's initial motivation for getting started. I and so whereas I look at it as regular and e-bike both.
Good.
And but after sitting down with Dick and realizing that I didn't realize that the weekly bike rides that a lot of people had converted over to e-bikes there, and so I said, oh, okay, well, I guess it's just a matter of time for me. So I'm open to that. Look, when I first came to Rossmore, I bought a level in, saying eventually I'm gonna appreciate it. I still take it's an elevator level in, so I still take the stairs to get up and down, but eventually I'll use it. So
Well,
just want to be prepared. Any other questions? I'm keeping to my promise of ending before 11 o'clock. Um, okay, next steps. I guess one is this bike ride we have to firm up, and um, people are helping with organizing. So I I got this far, but I'm not sure what to do next with these people helping to organize. I guess getting some feedback on the survey. I could send out a draft of the survey and get some points on it. I am going to send it out to everyone who indicated an interest and also encourage people to forward it to other people because there's still a lot of individual or two-person bike groups that there are a lot of them at Rossmore, and I think a number of them might benefit from this. So I want to get their feedback as well.
maybe an article in the paper.
Yes, yes. An article in the paper. I think that would be great. Um, but again, this is part of that's the promotion part. No one checked an interest in the promotion part here. Who would be interested in promoting this in the Rossmore News?
Who's a good writer?
Yeah, we're all pretty busy. Um, okay. Well, Randy, you will keep us apprised of the with Trek with the Trek store. We'll get more feedback on Saturday. So, about 7 or 8 people had responded to the doodle, and thank you for those who responded to it. And so I made 2 organizational meetings that covered pretty much everybody. But in fact, I had to give up. I signed up for a bridge class on taking on something, and that happened to meet 10 to 12 today. But I said this is more important, so I'll go late to that. Um, but so we'll get that feedback and we'll start promoting it. Uh, let's keep in contact by email and I welcome feedback on how to do this. I'm good systems wide and organizationally, but Lynn, I don't have, and Jim, I lack a number of your skill sets to really help this be successful on a large level. So your expertise on helping to promote it and make it feel like an effort that people can really feel committed to. Really open to feedback on that. Any other comments? And okay, and Lynn, I will set up a time we can talk about
Okay.
MS.
And then if we get really organized, we'll have to get matching T-shirts. This
Well,
came in the mail. We ordered these today for Bocce. It just came today.
uh-huh.
Can you read it?
Down for
Let's get down to for some debauchery.
Lynn, for cycling,
bocce.
you have to get a cycling jersey. with the
Aren't they cute? Yeah,
stuff on
Yeah.
it.
a jersey. Yeah, we'll get a jersey.
Very good. Very good. Okay, any other comments before we adjourn?
A big thank you to you.
Yeah, thank you for all the work.
Barry,
Thanks a
I
lot,
got a
Barry.
couple of
Good start.
I got a couple of text messages from some in the group that they weren't able to access this meeting through
Okay.
Zoom. So,
Okay,
but they said they'll show up on Saturday.
very good. Okay, we'll send out the notice again with the link to everybody. And this time I'll get on a little bit earlier and then send out the link to everybody at that point, so we know we've got the right link there.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you,
I'm
Barry.
thrilled with the number of people who showed up. I see a total of 10 now
Oh, good.
with Tom on the bottom there. Tom, you want to tell us your last name?
Oh, Tom.
Tom is muted.
He
Yeah.
went to the bathroom, I think.
Yes, I will. Here, I'll click asking him to unmute. That might make it easier for him to mute. Sometimes people don't know how to unmute.
Are you going to send the recording to other members?
I will send a recording to everybody
Great.
on this, and first I'll upload it to YouTube so I can get it off of my machine and start it at the start of the presentation, and anyway, do a few things. It'll be within 24 hours.
You're very techie.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of my skills. That's one of my
Yeah.
skills. But again, it takes a lot of people to get something successful off the ground. So I very much appreciate your help as well. Okay, very good. Well, thank you all.
Hey,
And
bye.
okay, take
Friday
care.
to Moraga.
Okay, yes.
Right.
Bye-bye.